Enzo Maresca's managerial debut at Leicester City was marked by his impressive ability to guide the team to the championship title with a brand of dynamic, possession-based football. Now handed the reins at Chelsea, Maresca is poised to bring his tactical acumen to Stamford Bridge. Here is an in-depth look at how he might set up Chelsea next season. As a former assistant to Pep Guardiola, of course, Maresca has adopted a few of his mentor's tactical nuances. At Chelsea, he is likely to use a 4-3-3 system. This will help balance a solid defensive outlet whilst maintaining a dynamic attacking approach. Under Maresca, it is clear to see that the fullback role is going to be absolutely important to the success of the side, helping the team maintain control in the middle areas of the field, of course tucking into the midfield, or alternatively tucking into the back line area, forming a solid back three. Now moving on to the tactics and the tactical vision, which will be set to wing play. Now this is a heavy emphasis on Maresca's system working offensively, looking to exploit the flanks with the pure quality that Chelsea do possess in those wider regions. More naturally, because you are stretching the play, you will naturally look to generate a lot of space in the central zones for your midfield to use and operate in. Now moving on to the defense and the defensive style, which will be set to pressing after possession loss. Now this mirrors the high-intensity counter-pressing system that Pep Guardiola at Man City uses. This will involve immediately pressing the opposition once your team have lost the ball and looking to put them on the back foot, making sure that they're very uncomfortable with their ball to play and looking for your side to therefore turn the ball over and capitalize on the counter-attacking opportunities. The team's width is set to 35, which creates a nice compact central structure looking to run and maintain the midfield zones. It will also provide ample awareness in the wider regions of the field for the defensive support. This setup will effectively allow Chelsea to press and close down the spaces in the middle of the park. The depth of the Chelsea backline will be set to 70, which does create a solid high-line approach. It will reduce and compress the playing area, allowing for the space to be reduced between the lines and also help with the centre-backs being very involved in the ball retention and, of course, the aggressive pressing. Onto the offensive side of things and the build play, which will be set to slow build up. This will help the team focus on patient, controlled possession football. This approach involves carefully constructing attacks from the back. It minimizes risk and allows for deliberate progression up the pitch. As for the chance creation, it will be set to possession, which emphasizes ball retention. This strategy will look to provide constant passing options for the ball carrier. It fosters patient build up, leading to high quality goal scoring opportunities through intricate passing sequences and good off-the-ball movements. The team's offensive width will be set to 60, which will still allow the side to exploit the wider channels of the field through the wingers, whilst maintaining a high overload dominance in the central zones, which is exactly what Enzo Maresca will look to do with his Chelsea side. So for the players in the box, it will be set to 4, providing a few runners in the box for the crosses or the cutbacks, while still retaining a lot of players on the edge of the area looking to retain the possession, rotate it, and effectively create more offensive opportunities. And then finally, the corners and the free kicks will be set to 4. Now taking a look at the individual player instructions, starting off at the back with the goalkeeper, who will be set to being a sweeper keeper. This role is essential to playing out from the back. The goalkeeper needs to be able to initiate the attacking sequences whilst also being able to sweep up just in behind his back line. This role is crucial to maintaining possession and distributing the ball under pressure. A few players to consider for this role could be Ramsdale, Costa, or Lunin. Onto your two centre backs, and they'll both be set to the base set of instructions. No major changes or requirements needed for either or, but they will be very involved in the build-up play in that first phase, whilst also maintaining that high line press and also looking to try and limit the opposition's transition play. Now moving on to your left back, who does have a more reserved attacking role. Quite often in the build-up play, he will tuck in and form a solid back three system. So for his role going forward, he'll be set to maintaining a balanced attacking run, whilst also looking to invert as much as possible, and this will allow him to get nice and close to the likes of Badashile. As you'll see here, for the defensive positioning, it will allow him to step up and be nice and aggressive and imposing towards the opposition player. A few players to consider for this position could be Hincapié, Aito, Gomez, or Basie. As you'll see here, for the right back, he's got a more attacking role, allowing him to venture further forward, sometimes allowing him to create those overlapping runs, combining very effectively in those wider zones, or alternatively, he could look to invert and get into the midfield area and be involved in the overloads more centrally. So his role going forward will be set to join the attack, maintaining a mixed run type. This will allow him to overlap or invert, like I say. And then, of course, just like with the left back, the right back will also be told to step up and be very imposing and aggressive towards the opposition wide players. Now, onto the role for your defensive midfielder, who is going to be Romeo Lavia. I think he fits the mold a bit better than what Caicedo does, but we will get onto Caicedo shortly. The role of Romeo Lavia will be looking to dictate the pace of play, making sure that the midfield rotations and those passing sequences are occurring on a regular basis. He'll also look to be very involved in the first phase of the build-up play. So in order to replicate his role very effectively, he'll be set to maintaining a balanced defense, looking to maintain the structure at the back, whilst also allowing himself to sometimes get further forward or dropping a bit deeper and helping support the defensive areas. The interceptions will be set to normal, and then of course maintaining the fact that he will be the deep lying playmaker, dropping into the spaces, showing for the ball with the goalkeeper restarts, making sure that he is positioning himself in the most pass ready positions on the field for that first phase build-up. And then, of course, finally, he will also be set to cover the central zones. Now, moving on to the right-sided central midfielder, Caicedo. Now, firstly, I would like to say that I think that this role will more or less mimic the role that he had at Brighton, having the ability and the freedom to be very involved in all phases of play. This is also going to be a very similar role to what the likes of Ndidi had at Leicester City under the likes of Enzo Maresca. So the right-sided central midfielder will have a very aggressive presence in the midfield zones, looking to sometimes help back on defense, looking to protect the backline, whilst also having the ability and the natural positioning to be very involved in the attacking phases of play. So he'll be set to stay back while attacking, stay on the edge of the box, and also maintain aggressive interceptions, and then finally cover the central zones and of course stick to position. Now moving on to the left central midfielder. Now this player will look to link the midfield to the attack, looking to play almost as a number 10, being very involved in the attacking outlets of the team. So this is a role that I think would definitely suit Enzo Fernandez, allowing him to unlock his full potential at Chelsea under Enzo Maresca. He'd be set to get forward, you want him being nice and high up the field, looking to combine very effectively with the likes of a Nicholas Jackson and Nkunku, maybe even a Sterling, and of course a Cole Palmer. Staying on the edge of the box though will be absolutely essential, although every now and then you do see him make those marauding runs into the final third, looking to get on the end of those crosses or cutbacks in the attacking zone. The interceptions will be set to normal, pairing that up with the fact that he will be set to cover the central zones and, of course, maintain a free roaming role. Now, out wide to your two wingers. Now, for the left wing, he will be a bit more of a touchline operator, looking to exploit the space down the wider channels as much as possible, whipping in shots or crosses or even cutback opportunities for his teammates. So he'll be set to come back on defense, stay wide, and maintain a balanced support run, sometimes allowing him to break in behind with his pace, other times allowing him to drift more centrally, combined with the midfield and, of course, the number 9. The interceptions will be set to aggressive. You want them aggressively closing down in those wider spaces as much as possible, whilst also for your left winger at least, he'll be looking to break into the box as much as he possibly can. Now onto the right flank, and of course Cole Palmer, he will be a bit more of a versatile attacker, allowing him to operate on the wider regions of the field, or even more centrally, looking to combine very effectively with the role of Enzo Fernandez. So he'll be set to come back on defense, maintaining a balanced width, and this will allow him to drift inside a lot more than what the left-hand side would, and effectively vacate that wider right space for a Reece James to operate in very effectively. Of course, the come short approach will also play into that role of him drifting more centrally, combining very effectively with the other midfielders, and again, vacating that wider space. The interceptions will be set to aggressive, and you also want him breaking into the box as much as possible, operating in those more attacking spaces where he can. And then finally onto the striker, and of course at this moment in time Chelsea have Nicholas Jackson. They could look to go ahead and maybe buy a better player for this position, but under Enzo Maresca, this is the focal point. This is the player that looks to also very effectively link with the midfielders and of course the attackers. So for the role for Nicholas Jackson going forward, he'll be set to maintaining a balance with, allowing him to drift all over the place or sometimes maintain a very central approach. Playing as a false 9 is something that Nicholas Jackson is actually quite good at, so I do think that the likes of Enzo Maresca will look to use him very effectively, dropping into the midfield, overloading those central zones, and of course linking up the play very nicely. The interceptions will be set to aggressive, looking to close down the goalkeeper, the centre-backs, and make sure that the passing lanes into the more central zones are covered. And then finally, the defensive support will be set to basic. A few players to consider for the striker role could be David, Pavlidis, and Evan Nielsen. In more aggressive situations and scenarios, the likes of Enzo Maresca likes his side playing in a 3-2-2-3 system. This structure allows for a very packed and congested midfield, adding another player into the midfield, creating that box formation. This is where the right back will look to tuck into the midfield and pair up with the defensive midfielder. This will also allow for a solid 3-2 shape to form for the first phase build-up play. Now taking a look at the tactics, and of course the depth is set to 85, which is a more aggressive, more higher line than normal, and this will help the team maintain control whilst pinning the opposition back in their own half. And then the other change that we do see is the players in the box is now set to 5, adding another player into the attacking zone to enhance the attacking outlets. Now taking a look at the individual play instructions for the 3-2-2-3 system, starting off with the left-sided centre-back, who will be set to overlap. Now this will allow him to naturally contribute down that left channel with a few advanced runs, looking to try and support the attack every now and then. Let's not forget he is more naturally a left back that has tucked in and created this solid back three system. Now moving on to your double pivots, and the only change that I have made for the likes of Romeo Lavia is the fact that he will now be set to cut passing lanes. You want to implement a bit more of a zonal defensive behavior for your two players just in front of your back line. As you'll see here for the role of Reece James, now tucking into the midfield and creating a solid double pivot, he'll also be set to cut passing lanes, maintaining a balanced attacking support, aggressive interceptions for the right back, whilst also being a deep-lying playmaker looking to show for the ball with those goalkeeper restarts, providing an extra passing option into the midfield, and also looking to overload it as much as possible. And then finally, he'll be set to cover the wing, looking to drift into that more natural right-back position, looking to pick up any advanced runners from the opposition. Moving further forward now into your two attacking midfielders, Caicedo as well as Fernandes, who will also have very different roles. For the role of Caicedo, you want him consistently dropping back, dropping deep, supporting the defensive actions, whilst also looking to maintain a solid position on the edge of the box, looking to rotate and retain possession. Sticking to position will be absolutely essential, whilst also having aggressive interceptions. Again, for the role of Enzo Fernandes, he'll have a bit more of an attacking freedom to him, so he'll be set to having a basic defensive support, so he can also choose to drop back and support when required, when necessary, but sometimes he can choose to stay further up the field. The balanced crossing runs is also going to be essential, sometimes adding an extra attacking threat into the box, whilst also allowing him to have that free roaming role, paired up with the fact that he will be set to normal interceptions. Not really a lot of defensive pressurizing from the natural number 10. And there you go, people. That is how I would implement and replicate successfully Enzo Maresca's 4-3-3 as well as the 3-2-2-3 system into FC24 for the current Chelsea side. Of course, it's only a prediction video of how he might look to set up this team next season, but he is a man that is set in his ways with how he wants his side to play football. So it could be an almost nail on the head, video that I've just created right here, right now. If you guys don't mind, please don't forget to smash that like button down below if you did like the video and all that good stuff, and I hope you guys do enjoy the tactics for your various career modes. But right here, right now, we are going to hop into the gameplay where we look to set up the various different actions and, formations and tactics and all that good stuff, and we'll talk about the more natural gameplay in further depth. Okay, people, the gameplay segment's up against the mighty West Ham United. Now, we will be discussing a few players, a few positions, a few tactical tweaks when you should and shouldn't play in this 3-2-2-3 system. But we will start off with just passing the ball around, making sure that certain players are getting a good touch, getting themselves into the game, making sure that we are looking to dominate the proceedings off the bat. Some good play down this wide right channel. Good play from Palmer, combining nicely with a Reece James into Romeo Lavia, who gives the ball away. Now, I know I've just given the ball away, but I do think that Lavia is the quintessential DM that would suit an Enzo Maresca side. I mean, currently for Leicester City, he had the likes of Harry Winks. Now, Harry Winks is a good player, but he's no Romeo Lavia. Great block, good defending from Enzo Fernandes. Good defending from him. Playing out from the back nicely, nice composed, minimal turnover risk. But yes, as for Romeo Lavia, I do think that he would 1000% be the DM of the side. He suits the system a lot better than what the likes of Caicedo does, as the likes of Enzo Fernandes. So yes, I think that he does fit the role and the mold of what Enzo Maresca would look for. Now, another player that we are going to talk about is the likes of Reece James in that, double pivot role and mold in the midfield. Now, effectively, Reece James over the last 2 seasons, well struck, well hit. But Reece James over the last 2 seasons has had a lot of injuries, and that is mainly to his lower body, his legs, his hamstrings, his ankles. He is not, sustainable as a right wing back, bombing up and down that left channel. So that is also why I decided to more or less mimic the Leicester City role of having the right back invert into that double pivot position. Because I do think that Reece James, one, has the quality to play in the central zones, whilst also maintaining the ability to drift slightly wider and whip in those crosses and those opportunities still. Opposed to him playing as that, outlet down the right-hand side. So I was up in the air between having Reece James in Cole Palmer's position and Cole Palmer in the Caicedo position. Obviously, there would have been a few tweaks to the various instructions, but at the end of the day, I do think that more naturally, Reece James will need to run less. And of course, when you're playing in the midfield, you do run a lot. Don't get me wrong. But it's not like you're not consistently sprinting, then not sprinting, then sprinting, then not sprinting. It won't be as, hard on his body if he is playing in the midfield. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense, but that is at least how I see it. You run a lot everywhere on the football field, but you are overexerting your hamstrings to some extent when you are playing on the wing. You need to have pace. You need to make sure that you're running with power all the time. Otherwise, you will lose the ball. Whereas in the midfield zones, he can, naturally look to drift around, show for the ball, be a very good on-the-ball technical playmaker. Good ball there from Lavia, out wide to Nkunku, little ball inside to Fernandes. We are looking to rotate things very nicely here. Fernandes gives the ball away, and we've won it back very nicely through Fernandes, and they're going to call that for a foul. That's a BS call. But yes, I think Reece James has all the capabilities to be a very good deep-lying playmaker for this Chelsea side. Well won back. Well won back. Good ball over the top into the more technical winger, who will look to put it across the face of goal, and it's dealt with immediately. But look at that pressure. Look at that. They don't know what they're doing. Oh, and they could break on us. Where is my backline? Oh my goodness me. Mohamed Kudus in behind, looking to do the damage, but he can't because our goalkeeper saves us. Now, there's another player that we need to talk about. Now, obviously, I did go ahead and suggest a few goalkeeping options, who I do think would be a better suit for an Enzo Maresca system and style of play. But I have gone with the likes of Sanchez over Petrovic because, one, Sanchez has played in a team and in a system where a ball-playing goalkeeper is required. Under Pochettino, it wasn't really a necessity to play, with a ball-playing goalkeeper, which is why Petrovic is a really good shot-stopping goalkeeper, but not really a fit for an Enzo Maresca team, where you need to be able to play under pressure, you need to be able to initiate, attacking play. And I've given the ball away, and it's a great save from Sanchez. Now, off the bat, West Ham are doing damage. They're doing damage, just not coming away with the results. Good, well won. Just looking to work it nicely. Looking to work it nicely. Into the likes of Enzo Fernandez. Lays it off beautifully. Almost played ourselves into trouble there. Good long ball approach into Nkunku. Chest it down nicely. And we'll be playing as a left winger. I do have a hunch that he will be playing as a left wing. I don't know why. I just don't see him being played in that, striker role. Great ball. Great ball! And it's off the post and in. Wow. Okay. I'm not going to lie to you people. The last 10 minutes of this half I've been mainly focusing on chatting. So the possession hasn't always been there. But we've got the results. 2-goal cushion. We will definitely focus on the possession in the second half. Not a bad strike from Nicholas Jackson. But yes, in terms of Nkunku, playing off the left wing. Now, at Leipzig, he played as a left attacking midfielder at times. And when he did play up front, he played in a front 2 system. Now, I have mentioned this before, but he works better with a more natural physical striker. So if you're going to play him in a front 2 system, that's fine. But if you're going to play him up front by himself, I don't think it works out that well. I don't think he's a natural number 9. He is more of a player that drifts from the left or from the right and comes inside and attacks, which is exactly what Maresca would expect from him in his various different systems. But anyway, the first half, done and dusted, 2-0 up versus a very strong, very stingy West Ham defense. We've managed to have a decent amount of possession, but like I said, it probably has gone down a fair amount as the half came to an end. Okay, so at the break, we have maintained 72% possession compared to their 28%. Like I say, as the half came to an end, we did concede a bit of possession and a few shots to them, but we've had 2 shots, they've had 4 shots, expected goals 0.7 each, 63 passes to their 26. So like I say, the last 10 minutes, we gave them a bit more of the ball, which is a bit sad, but we have, really, if you look at the possession stats, dominated proceedings very, very nicely. Okay, and as you will see here, the possession, we've maintained a lot of the ball in the central zones. We need to work it a bit higher up the field and look to try and pin them back in their own half. That will be a goal for us in the second half, at least. Their possession, however, a lot of it in the central zones and down the left-hand channel. Our left-hand, I don't know, down the likes of I think it's Cornet and Kudus, they would operate in that space. So not a bad outlet for them. I will say that. I will give them credit where it's due. but we need to try and, stifle and block that stuff out and make sure that our backline and, of course, our double pivot are very much involved in winning the ball back. I'm expecting a lot from Reece James, higher up the field, looking to impose himself a bit better. And there was that one scary moment where it led to a great save from Sanchez, where Kudus just broke through our backline. I don't know where the likes of Levi Colwell, Badashile, or the likes of Fofana were, but that was a scary moment, and we need to avoid situations like that. Please. Okay, and then finally, the passing stats and sequences at the break. We've had a lot of good connection between 25 and 20, of course, Cole Palmer and Caicedo. Some decent play out from the back from the centre-backs, and the goalkeeper with three good passes. A bit more from the backline area, looking to run the play, control the game, make sure that positioning they're in the right spots at all times, helping with the ball retention, helping with the pressing, which they have done a very good job up until that one moment that I am ashamed of. But a lot of good passes in the frontline area. 8, 25, 15, 18, and 20 all doing a very good job with passing. We need a bit more, combination play across that front line. As you'll see there, not many passes between, well, in fact, 0 passes between Nkunku, Jackson, and of course, Cole Palmer. So we need a bit more of that in the second half. Okay, West Ham to kick things off here. Nicholas Jackson with the goods. Now, the next player I'd like to talk about is Nicholas Jackson up front. Look, I do think that he could be a very decent player with the link-up play, the ability to drop into the midfield, more or less exactly what Maresca would want. But his clinicality in front of goal, it needs to improve. It does need to improve, and we are going to switch back to a back four system to start off the second half with. And that is also another thing. Maresca doesn't like his team flip-flopping and changing formations in and out of possession. He will quite happily allow his side to keep the back three shape and structure and make sure, oh my god, and just make sure that they are defending in a compact unit. Doesn't matter if they have a back three system or a back four system, they'll look to maintain the shape and the structure. So it's not exactly when we are in possession, we switch to this. When we are out of possession, we switch to that. It depends also heavily on what the opposition are doing. So if they are, overloading the midfield, the opposition, if they are playing a box midfield, the likes of Leicester City would look to play a box midfield. And the same would happen with Chelsea. If they are, playing a front four, I think Enzo Maresca would more so play with a back four. So it's also situations like that you need to be aware of. You need to look to try and understand the opposition, because that's more or less getting into the mind of being a coach. You're trying to out-duel your opponents. Great ball down the channel, squares it across, and that should be a freaking Jackson hat-trick. Beautiful. Simply sensational. Some good combination play between Nkunku and Enzo Fernandez, making that wider run. Of course, he does have that free roaming ability to be able to operate in the spaces in and around the attacking phase of play. And he did so very nicely with some good running off the ball, some good passing sequences occurring as well, and a great ball into Nicholas Jackson, who's firing it into an open net. But yes, back to the formation. So it is very much an up in the air type thing. Do you play with a 3-2-2-3? Do you play with a 4-3-3? It really does depend on you as the individual, what you feel most comfortable with. And if you are losing a game and you are looking to try and, get back in the game, or maybe the opposition is just battering you with possession because they are, just so good, you can overload their midfield. You can make sure that they don't have enough time and space in those central zones, which is exactly what happens when managers look to revert with this box formation. Another square pass opportunity. Goodness me. Some good early chances here, and they will look to attack us down the right-hand channel. With Cornet up against Reece James, and he's gotten the best of Reece James with a little inside pass there. Little ball across the face of goal. Badashile with a great clearance effort. Caicedo gets fouled on the edge of the box. And West Ham will look to rotate play. Just maintain it a little bit, please. It's a great save from Sanchez. Wow, Sanchez has really saved us here. Conor Gallagher, no, I'm not going to play him. I haven't put Conor Gallagher in the starting lineup, only because I do think that Chelsea will be selling him. I'm an idiot. I pushed the wrong button. I was supposed to push triangle and I pushed square and I slide tackled the man. Okay, we've given them a penalty. But back to the Conor Gallagher situation. I do think that Chelsea will sell him in the summer, and I don't think that's, Maresca would really mind if that happens. So will be interesting to see where Conor Gallagher goes. If you're a Chelsea fan, let me know down below. Would you sell Gallagher? Me personally, I wouldn't. I think he's at at least he could be a very good bench rotational player. But obviously the Chelsea board, the Chelsea management, they see him as pure profits, which is just so bad. So bad. We are going to revert into this more attacking situation, formation. Good play. Cole Palmer. Oh my god, that is disgusting from corner. How dare you? How dare you? Give him a yellow. Oh my goodness me, it's a red. Wow. Okay, I didn't really see the tackle that clearly, but they've given him a red. How dare you? Hurts the star boy of Chelsea. Wow, okay, yeah, that's criminal. That's a jail offense right there. And we should definitely look to absolutely bully this lot. The game's basically practically over at this point. But just to be sure, some good passing here down this wide left channel. Put it. I went in with my own tackle there. That's going to be a yellow card. But it's fine. It's okay. It's all right. We go again. We press nice and high up the field. We need to make sure that we still are maintaining possession. We need to make sure. In fact, yeah, we should definitely be dominating this lot because they've got a lesser man now. Why did I not run to the man? West Ham looking just to rotate the play, take the possession away from us. That is not acceptable. That is definitely not acceptable. And that's a terrible cross, mate. That is a terrible cross. Terrible cross. It's a good ball. Look at that. That's a terrible ball from Lavia. That is a terrible ball. Why didn't he? God damn it. I suppose like his overall is not great. But that ball was on for Nkunku. He made that run in behind. He was looking to exploit the space that this West Ham team were looking to press higher up with. And there you have it. Bang, bang, and bang. It's a terrible cross into the gloves of the goalkeeper. We end up with a 3-1 victory and a red card to West Ham. Wait, what? Here I thought that... How is... This ref is calling some crazy fouls, you know. It's a good ball. It's a great ball. We've cleared it long, and there we go. That is the game. We end up with a 3-1 win and a red card to West Ham. Just, you know, re-saying those lines. A great hat-trick for Nicholas Jackson. He was in the right spaces at the right time. Even though he was playing as a false nine, he would still operate and also allowed to drift all over the place. He would still operate in those central zones when needed, and he was there for the goals to be put in the back of the net. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. We are going to take a look at the stats after the game. A few people have asked me, please show us the stats after the game, and they probably aren't going to be that great. But Brom squad number 1 versus legendary AI 3-1. Anyways, okay, yes, we know. I'm the winner. I'm always the winner. Let's have a look at the performance. Oh, wait, there we go. So effectively, our possession did go down. I was trying to score a few more goals. They obviously did end up scoring a goal. Through a bit of stupidity from yours truly, but still maintained around 62% possession, which is exactly what Enzo Maresca at Leicester would always look to do. 2.3 expected goals, some really good quality goal scoring opportunities generated throughout the entirety of the game, or almost double their passes, more tackles than them, very active off the ball, looking to press and win the ball back, very Pep Guardiola-esque elements brought into this style of play. Tackles won 4-3, interceptions both with 6, 4 saves to their keepers 0. Wow. So our keeper really did save us. Wow. Okay. Fouls committed 4 to their 1. Their 1 foul resulted in a red card, by the way. That is hilarious. And so yeah, those are the stats as the game comes to a close. Anyways, I hope you guys have absolutely enjoyed this. Please don't forget to smash that like button down below, subscribe, and do all that good stuff. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and we will be doing some great content over the summer during the Euros. International football, those tactics will be out during that time. But yes, until the next one, until the next time, I hope you guys have a damn great day, and I'm out of here.